This is Columbus Concerns, a public affairs presentation of North American Broadcasting. Here's your host, Mark Noose.
Hey, good morning, and thanks so much for joining us today on Columbus Concerns. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to talk about veterans issues on the program as we lead up toward Veterans Day. And with us today, we're pleased to have the director of the Delaware County Veteran Services, Brian Gallagher. And Brian, thanks so much for stopping by.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming in because a lot of people, especially the veterans, don't know about a lot of benefits that are out there that they could be taking advantage of. And as director of the Delaware County Veteran Services, I know every county has one of these veteran services organizations. And tell us about Delaware County and what you do.
So we're a county office. So a lot of people confuse us with the VA. We're not the VA. And it's a good thing because we can call the VA out. Yeah, the VA does outstanding stuff. But from time to time, there needs to be a little adversity, just kind of like in any family. So we're a county office, just kind of like the sheriff, the engineer, treasurer, any one of those things. We're paid for by county tax dollars. It's the same way across the entire state. Every county has a veteran service office. And what we do is we help veterans get VA benefits. So that's where some of the confusion comes in, is people come in and, we help them get disability compensation, help them sign up for VA health care, things like that. What we can't do is we can't do an award on the spot. So we can't tell you whether something's going to be awarded or not because we don't have the adjudication ability that the VA does. We do not have any access to anything VA health care. So there are two separate components to the VA. There's the Veterans Benefits Administration, which does disability and compensation claims. Then there's the VA healthcare. We don't have access. We can't tell you what your shot record is or anything like that. That's all, private information that we don't have access to. So that's the main thing that county offices do, is help veterans get VA, get in touch with the VA. Because if you look at the paperwork and stuff like that that's required, veterans that try to do this themselves either get upset by all the paperwork and stuff like that and just get intimidated and give up, or they do it wrong, they submit it, and then the VA sends a bunch of stuff back, and then they get upset, and then it stops. So what we're there for is to help veterans do this stuff along the way. We fill out the forms for them, we find out what's going on, we recommend the best courses of action. Ultimately, it's up to the veteran for them to decide the course of action that they're going to take, but we help guide them along the way. There's also specific county benefits that are available. Mm-hmm. So, for example, transportation is one of those county benefits. So each county does things just a little differently. So, for example, in Delaware County, we have several minivans that are wheelchair accessible and a couple other vehicles. We go out, we pick the veteran up, and we'll take them to, generally it's medical appointments. That's what the law is there for, is for us to take them to medical appointments. If we have the capability to take somebody to somewhere else, we will. For example, honor flight. We've taken veterans that don't have a means to get to honor flight. We've taken them there and picked them back up and brought them back home. So if you're in Delaware County and you want to go to honor flight, get a hold of our office and we'll be able to take you there and bring you back. So, we do it with vehicles that we have, and we have drivers. Franklin County, for example, that's got an excellent public transportation system. That's what they use, is they will issue you bus passes or taxi passes. I forget exactly what Buck said that he does. He's the director for Franklin County. Mm-hmm. And, we work very well together. They have a great public transportation system. So that's what they do here. For example, just north of us in Morrow County, they have, drivers as well and vehicles. That's the way most counties do. Some of them have a bus to where they go around. We try to do things more individualized, mm-hmm. to where, we don't put everybody on a bus, take them down, and then everybody leaves at the same time. We try and make it to where the most a veteran waits is an hour. So we try to keep it to where there may be maybe just a single veteran that goes down with a driver in a vehicle, maybe 2, at the most maybe 3, if their time frames are all within the same. So we try and make it to where it's as convenient as possible for the veteran. So that's one of the local things that's a county function across the entire state that our offices do, our transportation. Another thing that we do is financial assistance. The VA has some, social working programs to where, they'll send a social worker out and do certain things with veterans. What they don't have is robust of a financial assistance program that counties do. And the law is very vague on this as far as how it's done. Mm-hmm. Basically, the law says counties have a financial aid program for veterans. So it's up for each county to determine how it is that it's done. Our rules used to be very strict. We've become much more open. With the commissioner, the veteran service commissioners that are my bosses, that oversee it. They're the ones that dictate policy. So it's much more forgiving now as far as in Delaware County. So things will change from time to time. So a veteran that's in need, say they're having problems paying rent or mortgage. That's one thing. Rent's one thing that's recently been a big part to where, as home values increase, we've had numerous cases to where a veteran may have been paying $600 a month, and then the company that owned the rental property ends up selling to another company. That other company comes in and raises the price, say 50%. Yeah. So now that veterans have a hard time making ends meet. So we're not a long-term solution, but we're emergency financial assistance where we can come in and make sure they're not going to get kicked out, their electric stays on, the water stays on. Mm-hmm. They may have had some kind of medical emergency that they've had to pay for, or car repair, or something like that they weren't able to make ends meet. And that's what we can do. Every county in Ohio has a veteran service office, veteran service commission. The terms are used interchangeably, that are there to help veterans out to get through tough times. Again, it's not a long-term financial assistance. It's emergency financial assistance, but it's there for veterans in case of need. And it's the resources that veterans have as compared to the general public is outstanding. I mean, all they have to do is pick up the rug and look, and those resources are there.
So if there are veterans out there in Central Ohio and they like what they're hearing from you, they should contact their own county's office.
Correct. Yeah. Again, every county in Ohio has a veteran service commission, and each one of them runs an office. And we basically do the same thing. So the Ohio Department of Veteran Services, which is the state office, they're not in charge of us. They have no real authority over us, because generally the authority follows money, and the money comes from the county. Mm-hmm. The Ohio Department of Veteran Services does not, parlay any money to us. So, but they're there to help coordinate. So, and they work with the state legislature to make sure that the laws are in place to where we're all kind of doing the same thing. So each county basically does the same thing. The flavor just may be little different. So, for example, because needs are different from county to county. So in Delaware County, to where, we have a financial assistance program, but it's not as robust as Franklin County, because majority of people that come in to see us, it's for transportation or it's for claim work. Mm-hmm. We do get financial assistance people that come in, but not to the same percentage as, say, Franklin County does. So, Buck and Franklin County has to, look at what's the need, mm-hmm. and develop the office to meet that need. So every county in the state, even though we do kind of the same thing, mm-hmm. it's set up to meet the needs of the citizens that represent that county. And every county in Ohio is just a little different.
And if people want to get a hold of the Delaware County Veteran Services, what's your phone and website address?
So our phone number is 740-833-2010. And our web address is long. My recommendation is to go to the search engine of your choice, whether it be Google, Bing, or whatever, and type in Delaware County, Ohio Veteran Service Office. Mm-hmm. Now, I say Ohio because we've had people from Pennsylvania, and I will tell you that Muncie, Indiana, is Delaware County, Indiana.
Okay.
Where we've had people from, apparently what we've done as far as promoting our search engine, and search engine has been great. To where people from Indiana, I think Illinois has a Delaware County. So we'll make sure you're looking at Ohio, no matter what county you're looking up. Make sure it's Ohio because you could be calling someone from another state.
I know that we were talking earlier before the program, and you were saying that there is sometimes a reluctance for veterans to come in, particularly, as you mentioned, the Vietnam veterans.
Correct.
What is that reluctance all about?
So my father was this way. He was a Vietnam veteran, spent time, 67 and 68 was over for the Tet Offensive. And, I think the war was, affected him. But I think even more so was the way he was treated whenever he came back. Perfect example of this is, a lot of Vietnam veterans weren't allowed to join, like the American Legion and the different service organizations because the World War II veterans didn't consider it a war because it was a conflict, in terminology as far as back then. So that didn't sit well with him. He had a hard time, going into military establishments and government facilities and stuff like that. So there was a distrust just on the way they were treated, whenever they came back. He told me stories about signs that said, soldiers, sailors, and dogs stay off the grass, after they just got done, seeing the atrocities that they had seen, over in Vietnam, come back and seeing that. So it's understandable, especially for the Vietnam veterans, the way they were treated. So they generally have a hard time coming in and, getting help, seeing us because there's that distrust and they just don't want to relive certain things that, it didn't end well for them.
Right. And then, but a lot of times I know you said that what you do say to them is if you don't want to come in for your family.
Correct.
Because there are things, benefits, not only now, but after when you're deceased that can help your family later on.
Right. So, for example, if they come in and see us, we'll at least get their discharge paper, their DD-214. If they pass away, we can help them out quickly with military funeral honors because we have their DD-214. Another perfect example is if they pass away before their spouse and they're service connected, so they get some kind of a disability rating from the VA, say like my father, heart disease. That's one of the presumptives for Vietnam. So if you were in Vietnam exposed to Agent Orange, there are certain presumptive conditions that if you were in country and you have this disease, they automatically link it to the time that you were in VA. I mean, in Vietnam, they don't have to say that it was caused by the military. It's just the law said that it's known. You got this, you were here, it's connected.
Right.
So if that happens and you pass away, and on your death certificate, it has something related to that, the spouse is eligible for a program that then pays them monthly.
Yeah.
So it takes care of the spouse after you've passed away. And a lot of veterans won't come in and see us for themselves. But if we let the family know, hey, if you come in and you bring him in or her in and, they're service connected, then it has a chance to help the spouse out later on. A lot of times that veteran will then come in and go through the process. And ultimately it helps the family out.
So, should all veterans check with their local veteran
Yeah.
services office? But that's basically, I think, what I'm hearing.
Right. Yeah. If nothing else, if you're hopefully veterans are doing well, they don't need financial assistance. They've got a family around that supports them for transportation. I always say that I would rather have my health than get money from the VA. So hopefully none of that's there. However, everybody that's served know that the chances of that happening, are not that it can't, but it's minimal. If nothing else, come in, get your DD 214 taken care of. Come in and say hi. We'll let you know. Hey, Delaware County's having a breakfast, on Veterans Day at the fairgrounds. Come in and hang out with other veterans. We got a Veterans Day parade, on the Sunday before. Come in and enjoy, or walk the parade. There's numerous events in Central Ohio that are veterans related, to where if you get connected with, in with the Veteran Service Office, we can at least let you know what's happening if none of the other stuff is available for you.
And I would think that personal contact with other veterans, sharing stories and experiences, might be a great help for them.
I can't tell you the number of times that myself or my staff has talked about where a veteran will come into the office with a member of the family, and they'll start talking to us, because everybody that works for veteran service offices are either veterans themselves or a family member of a veteran. Most of the time, we're veterans. Everybody in our office are all veterans, and we'll start talking to the veteran, and it'll be that camaraderie and that talk, and all of a sudden they'll start telling stories that you can see the expression on the family member's face that they had never told this story before.
Yeah.
And I'll have them come up to me afterwards and say, I never heard that story before. And a lot of it's because there's a comfort, and once you get that talking to another veteran, and you're, the same lingo, and, places that you've been to the same place, even 20, 30 years apart, certain military bases are still around. You can talk about and you have that connection, and those stories come out.
Our guest again on the program today is Brian Gallagher, Director of the Delaware County Veteran Services. And you recently had some radio spots on talking about the Delaware County Veteran Services and what you do. And you talked about how you can even help people who are having some financial issues, not only with short-term emergency funding, but also just helping them get their bills in order.
Right. So it's emergency financial assistance is what it's for. It's not a long-term financial assistance. So each county has this. Basically, the law says help out with financial assistance. So the way each county does it's slightly different, but you have to be a county resident to receive those funds. And the way we work it out is there's an application process that you go through, and then we'll review it. And if you're eligible, right off the front, we'll go through it. And generally, it's for things like rent, mortgage, car payment. Maybe you've got a repair bill for a car that you can't make ends meet. There has to be a financial need. So if your income is more than your expenses, and you're just doing it because you're saving up for, say a Mustang or something, well, we need to have that discussion. But if it's something where there is a true financial need, then we're there to help. You do have to bring your DD 214 in, which is your discharge paper, and we'll verify that you've got an honorable discharge, and we're there to help. And every county is basically the same way. So generally, it's again, I said, for emergency financial assistance. And it's a program that's not that well known, because you can't go into a VA website and see this. This is a county function. It's paid for by county dollars. It's in state law.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. We talked about the reluctance, especially Vietnam veterans, maybe to come in because there's a trust issue. But it also, with certain generations, they don't think they deserve the help, or they want to make it on their own. And but there are lots of things you can do to help them if they could just get over that.
Right. So
They deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's they serve their country. The legislatures put together the laws with the understanding that they deserve it. So, it's just the first step of coming in and letting us look at your DD 214. Telling you what kind of veteran VA benefits that are available. What state benefits are available, what local benefits are available, different programs that we've got. All that stuff are things that we can do.
Talk about the people who work in your office and they act as your counselors, or the people who help out the veterans.
So, we've got veteran service officers. So they're people to help veterans with generally VA benefits. Mm-hmm. Then we've got a person who does emergency financial assistance. And so, veterans that have that emergency need where they say their car broke down or they've got some kind of a medical expense that came up that they're having a hard time making ends meet. That's what that person takes care of, is they do the application, they find out what's going on, and then they get the story of what's happening with that veteran, and maybe then they'll turn them over to a veteran service officer that's going to help them with claim work. And it may be to where, he's got connection with Job and Family Services, to where maybe there's a job issue, to where maybe get their resume done better, find different work programs that are available for training to try and help them get through. Sometimes a veteran has mental health needs or substance abuse issues is the reason why, a connection with, financial assistance. And we're able to try and solve those. We personally don't solve them. What we can do is get them to the resources to help them solve it. So really, it's what's the problem, and then let's do a multitude of things to try and help them out.
It's interesting because like you said, the VA is a great organization, does a great job, but it's a government organization. It's a big bureaucracy. It's serving a lot of people. And, that's just the way things work. I imagine there has to be a lot of training and a lot of keeping up with all the changes all the time that your people have to know
and
about.
That's the great thing that the Ohio Department of Veteran Services does, is that they have training that we have to go to, and they coordinate it. There's an association of all the veteran service offices in the state that we belong to, and collectively we, have new officer training. We've got, required training during the year, a couple times a year, to where we catch up on what's going on. The VA comes in and helps train on things to where, hey, this is a new program. This is what's going on. This is recent change in laws. So it's good. We really work collaboratively together to help solve issues.
Do you also work with some of the veterans organizations around Delaware County?
Yes, actually each one of the commissioners, so not county commissioners, but veteran service commissioners, are put in place by each one of the organizations. So there's a representative from the American Legion, a representative from the Veterans of Foreign Wars, a representative from AMVETS, and so on. There's 5 commissioners that represent different organizations. So each one of those organizations in the county puts forward names. It's a common pleas judge that interviews them and actually places the commissioners in place. And then they serve for a period of 5 years. So the responsibility of those commissioners, not only to help guide the office and to direct policy, but it's to make sure that that information flows back to those service organizations.
So when you talk about, getting together with those service organizations, they probably also have some benefits and programs out there that people don't know about. Right. Do you coordinate with that too?
Yeah, so if there's a specific need that we can't tackle because it falls outside the line of what we can do, then they can take care of it. And, with us being still county government, there's a certain bureaucracy that we have to go to now. Now, our bureaucracy level is completely different than the federal level.
Of course.
To where, we can get things, we're much more nimbler. But we still have issues to where if something needs to get paid today, then we can reach out to some of those service organizations and see if they can do it, and then maybe we'll reimburse them or they'll just cover it, things like that. So we do work with those different service organizations on different issues.
Brian Gallagher is here, Director of the Delaware County Veteran Services, just one of 88 county service organizations. Every county has one in Ohio. And Brian, again, how do we get a hold of your office if there's somebody out there that needs your services?
So our office number is 740-833-2010. And again, go to your search engine of choice and type in Delaware County, Ohio Veteran Service Office. Or the county that you're from. So
the bottom line here is you want to hear from all veterans.
Yes, and every county in Ohio is the same way. We all do the same thing. We all are staffed by veterans that are there to help other veterans.
Brian Gallagher from the Delaware County Veteran Services has been our guest today. Brian, thanks so much for all the work you do with your fellow veterans, and tell everybody thanks in your office too.
Will do. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Columbus Concerns, a public affairs presentation of North American Broadcasting. You can send questions or comments about today's show to Columbus Concerns in care of this station, 1458 Dublin Road, Columbus 43215, or email us at columbusconcerns@napcomedia.com.
I'm Tiffany Haddish.
And I'm Marlon Wayans. African Americans are 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer than any other racial or ethnic group.
When you or someone you love is facing a pancreatic cancer diagnosis, access to cutting-edge treatment can help make long-term survival possible and improve future patient outcomes.
That's why Stand Up to Cancer and the Lust Garden Foundation have teamed up to bring over 30 pancreatic cancer clinical trials to those who need them.
Learning all you can about pancreatic cancer, including treatment options and what clinical trials are available, can give you or a loved one even more than hope. It can help make long-term survival possible.
For more information about the latest pancreatic cancer research and clinical trials near you, visit pancreaticcancercollective.org.
Food. Our survival relies on it. Yet every day in central Ohio, nearly 1 million pounds of it enters the landfill. That's a lot of food, natural resources, and money being wasted. The meals on our plates require a lot of energy, water, and land to grow, harvest, and prepare. And we rely on a healthy planet to provide that. When we choose to throw food away, we're choosing to discard all the resources that were invested along the way. Not to mention the money that's being tossed out. But together, we can make choices that make a difference in our community and protect our environment. In fact, there are a lot of small changes that we can each make to reduce our waste, like saving our leftovers, properly storing our food, and composting. Learn more about what you can do to reduce your food waste at home, at work, at school, and in your community at SaveMoreThanFood.org, a program of SWACO.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me, I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
How can we help people in crisis if we ourselves are in crisis? Hi, I'm Mick Yinger with First Responders Bridge. It may shock you to learn that more first responders are dying by suicide than all line of duty deaths combined. This is unacceptable. First responders are willing to risk their lives for anyone in need, but now they need your help. Please visit firstrespondersbridge.org, and by giving only $9.11 a month, you can help a first responder on their journey from hurting to healing.